And then to your question.
All right, well, happy Thanksgiving week to everybody. Just a couple things. First of all, I want to congratulate all the teams playing for state championships here. Wish I could be a part of it. Wish I could go out and watch and celebrate their excellence, but I want to make sure that we congratulate them. I want to congratulate Coach Walker and the women's soccer team making the Elite Eight. That's a really big deal in our house, and we're very excited for them. I want to congratulate Coach Cook and the women of Nebraska volleyball for being Big Ten champs, and I look forward to them making their run. So it's great to be here, great to be a part of so many excellent teams and be a part of such a great athletic department. When it comes to this Friday, I just, before, I know you guys will have lots of questions, I just want to express my deep gratitude for the 24, probably about 24 guys that they're gonna walk out on Friday and as seniors. So a couple guys are still, because of COVID, so some guys are still making some decisions up, but you can't do this job without buy-in from players. And these players, well, I think they've bought into us. More importantly, I think they care deeply about Nebraska football. And when I see Ethan Piper, when I see Nick Henrich limp off the field the other night, they've given us everything. They've absolutely given us everything, and I'm just very, very, very grateful. I'm also grateful for all the student workers. I asked if they could be honored in similar ways. We have equipment managers that ride 6, 7, 8 hours on buses. Student recruiting workers, student operations workers, student nutrition workers, other areas. So I'm just really grateful for all those young people and all the things that they do to allow us to have a chance to play the game. So with that, I'll just see what questions you guys have.
Coach, what's your approach on the short week? How do you kind of approach this week, maybe with the time of year you're at right now, compared to, say, other short weeks you've had to tackle this year?
Yeah, it'll be just like Illinois. Obviously Illinois coming off of Michigan, we went out and practiced that Sunday. We didn't practice last night. We met, we watched the tape. We got back late. I wanted the guys to go home and sleep, and but we met. We went over the game tape from Saturday night. Got started with the guys on their Iowa prep. They'll be in tonight. They'll practice tomorrow. We'll practice tomorrow morning. There's no school Wednesday, so we'll practice Wednesday morning. I'll cut the guys loose, let them go home if they're local, bring them back Thursday at some point, walk through and have a normal week. So it'll be very similar to what we did against Illinois with the same amount of practices.
You have a listing of, I think, 11 guys on the roster who are seniors and the 24 who are juniors. You said there's going to be 24 who might walk overall. How do you help them make those decisions? And do you kind of know those juniors who you think are going to go ahead and say, this is the end of the year?
Yeah, they've all said, they've already said to Susan and Kiera, hey, I'm walking, I'm not walking. I've had several come in to me, say, Coach, what do you think I should do? In terms of, mainly those ones are the ones who, have a chance at the NFL. And but to each one, it's their own personal decision. Some guys, they might walk this week, but they still haven't made their mind up. They want to kind of get to the end. So it's really important for me that we just kind of allow each one to do what they want. But, we have some guys that might say they're a junior, but they're really in their 5th year. It's a unique time. Sometimes I don't know. I said to Fedoni, I called him a sophomore, and he goes, well, technically I'm a freshman. So technically he is. So, but it's just with each one, I'm available to these guys. And that's really been our message all the time. We're never going to give them advice that's not in their best interest. And we're really never going to give them advice other than just to give them facts and information. One of the hard things about making the pro decision, and I ran into this last year with Garrett Nelson, is you can't get a pre-draft grade for a COVID year. So if I'm a 3rd-year player and I'm going into my 4th year, I can apply to the NFL and they'll give me a draft grade. If I'm a 4th-year player trying to decide if I want to come back for a 5th year, and that's a COVID year, they won't do it for that. So, luckily for us, we obviously have a lot of connections. We'll ask guys where they see guys. We'll try to give them an idea, and then guys can make their own decisions. I'll just say, yesterday I started the day off with, you come back, you lose a game like we lost in overtime. It's the 3rd time that on the last play of the game was decided. You're hurt for your guys, and then, I had guys walking in saying, Coach, I want to come back next year and play again. And I had recruits calling me saying, Coach, I want to come there. So it was really a great day from that regard. But it's each guy's kind of making their own mind up. And I would probably produce that list right now, but I know some guys, they might change their mind over the course of this week, so I want to be respectful of that for them.
A guy like Quentin and Ty, they can get grades because they're fifth-year juniors or whatever.
Well, no, Quentin's done, so he just goes into the process. Ty wouldn't be able to get a grade as far as I know because he's not a junior. He's used his eligibility. That's kind of what happened with Garrett last year. And even the grades, I mean, the grades are like, first, second, maybe, I think I can't remember if it's third or go back. But if they give 80 guys a third round grade, there's not 80 guys in the third round. So you have a tendency to slip. So it really depends on how many people actually go into the market, if that makes sense. So.
How much is this bowl game situation? How much of that as a motivator for you and for the players?
Well, I mean, I'm motivated every week. I think it would be great for our program. It would be great for our young players. It'd be great for our older guys. I know our older guys are motivated. I've never, I think, look at the last 3 weeks. We get knocked down, we get right back up, and they come back each week. And so I don't think there's any question. I don't think there's any question of, that they're motivated to try to get it done and try to get this win. And like I said, when we were at 5-3, I didn't want to just win one more. I wanted to win them all. We're sitting here at 5-6. I want to win. I want to win each week. I truly believe it when I say go 1-0 each week. But I know they want to win. They want. To think that they're sitting here at senior day. So a lot of these guys, it's their last game in this stadium. They're playing a ranked team, chance to go to a bowl game. If they lack any motivation, it's all there for them. But I've seen this group do nothing but fight every week all year.
Did Chubba come out of Saturday's game pretty good health-wise? What's the situation with him?
He's healthy. Yeah, he's good.
How do you feel as he kind of looked back at it, watched it back again, how he performed?
I thought Chubba played really well. He came in on Sunday, and he and I sat down, and I think the thing that takes you from good to great is when you go back and look and say, hey, what are the plays I could have done? Not just concentrate on things you did well. There's maybe 4, 5, 6 plays where, first progression's not there. Maybe he scrambles and the backside in cut's wide open, and but a couple more reps, over the course of the season, maybe he gets back to that a little easier. But I thought he was in command the whole game. I thought he protected the ball. I thought he had great energy. I thought he was making a lot of good decisions. I harken back to like the Minnesota week. Like, if you look at our scout team for the Minnesota game, like Chubba was the quarterback, Emmett was the tailback, and those guys the last 2 weeks have taken us down on drives with a chance to win the game. So there's always something. There's always things to get better at. But I thought overall, Chubba. I thought he was a real spark in the game.
Given the fact that he,
several times in the past few weeks about wanting the quarterbacks to kind of just play and not think too much. In that regard, how did you feel Chubba did as far as like making quick decisions and not allowing things to get too big for him?
I thought he did a really nice job of that. I didn't think he predetermined anything. I thought he came out and, you come out in that game, right? They're a 4-down team. They came out and they were playing basically like what amounts to like a nickel 3-4 to our big people, and he just played the plays, got the ball in the perimeter to Billy when it was there. They went back kind of after the first 2 drives to the 4-down stuff. I thought he played the plays. Like I said, there's maybe 4 or 5 plays. I think for every quarterback, there's always 4 or 5 plays. So, but I thought Chubba just kind of was in the moment. He just kept playing the play. I mean, that's the one thing I said to him, like late in the fourth quarter, was like, hey, just don't try to win the game, play the play, right? I know how badly he wanted to win the game, but the way you win the game is by playing each play as it comes. And there were a lot of really good plays that he made, and that gave us a chance. On the road, in the crowd noise, in the cold. I thought he looked like he was comfortable.
given the fact that he played well, what did he have to work through just to get to the point to play? Because the way that he played would indicate that maybe he could have played earlier if he wasn't hurt. So what did he have to go through just to get to the point where he could play?
Well, I think I think when you see someone have success, it usually stems from their ability to overcome some sort of adversity. So, I think he's learned and grown a lot over the course of this year. I'll let them speak. I'll let Chuba and Heinrich and them speak about, the things they've endured in their time to college. I don't want to speak for them. But I think, I think coming into this year, I challenged Chuba a lot in the spring. I challenged him in the fall. As I've said, if you go back to my statements, I thought he was having a great camp, and he got banged, he got hurt. He's gotten healthier and healthier and healthier. You certainly see the speed that he has. And he's got moxie and toughness. So I told him before the game, not after the game, I told him before the game, you're going to play well. And people are going to say, why didn't you play earlier? And, I showed these guys a lot of different videos. I showed them Kobe Bryant. I showed them, over the last couple weeks, it's been Kobe Bryant, like going through adversity to become a great player. I think Chuba has endured, some of the physical adversity and then not playing and gotten just better and better and better. He's played on the scout team. He's taken the reps when we had given them to him. And so when he went out there, I thought he played free and just kind of played the play. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I kind of told him that ahead of time because I knew he was going to play well. And I could see that when he went out there last week, and I could see that in practice this past week.
Was there any specific challenge in the spring? I mean, you say you challenged him in the spring. Was there anything specific?
Yeah, he was just pretty far down on the depth chart, and he just. I'll let him speak on it more. I don't want to say anything that I just challenged him a lot, and he answered the call. I mean, he's a fighter. He's not a quitter. He's a fighter, and he got better in the spring. I thought he really got better over the summer. I thought he got better in camp. I thought he suffered some adversity in camp. I thought throughout the course of this year, we've given him some chances in some practices over the course of the year. But I thought, when he went in the game, you just saw, you saw what you see, what he does on the scout team. Honestly, when he gets on the scout team, he runs around, makes plays free. I thought he played free. And then this week with pressure, with a whole week of preparation, with a game plan, with all these different things, he went out and played the same way. So, you've heard me talk about guys killing the bear, like overcoming that thing that holds us all back. I thought maybe he did that through the course of the week. Maybe he'll sit up here and tell you. That's what I'm saying. He might say something different. I don't tell our players what to say. He might say, Coach Rhule's messed up and should have played me all along. Him and Heinrich are best friends. Let Heinrich tell you what he's been through to get to this point. We're sitting at the game and people, everyone's happy about Chuba. Heinrich was 5-3 as a starter for us too. Didn't get to finish that last game. Ask him about his journey to get here. So I'm proud of all the guys. When they go out to represent us, I can't tell you how hard guys work. And really proud of Chuba. He could have folded, he could have quit, and he has never done that. And that's to me, that's the mark of a guy who ends up being a good player.
What stands out to you about Iowa's defense?
Everything. I mean, they're giving up in Big Ten games. They're giving up I think it's 12.8 points per game. I mean, they're giving up three yards a rush. They don't give up big plays. But it's all together, right? So the thing about Iowa is when people try to talk about Iowa, they want to talk about the defense and the special teams. But if the offense, no, that's not how it works. They know who they are. They have a formula. It's integrated football, right? They've punted the ball 56 times in Big Ten play. They're gonna. It's I'd go play when I was in the NFL, we'd play the Parcells Belichick guys, right? They kick the opening kickoff down. They wouldn't kick it to the end zone. They kick it to the 3 and make you return it to the 15, and then they start just playing the field against you. And that's what these guys do as well as anybody. But they're dominant up front. They get off blocks. Coach Parker, they've been playing that defense forever. The minute you line up and you run a stem, they know they've eliminated it from 50 routes down to 3. They're great at what they do. And they have really good players, and they play really hard, and they can pressure you, and they're going to control the clock on offense, and they're going to run the football on offense. They're not going to beat themselves. When you look at us, a lot of statistics are similar on offense and on defense, but they only have 12 turnovers in Big Ten play, so they've protected the ball better than we have over the course of the year. But great players across the board, great scheme, really physical, stop the run, force you into bad decisions, and then eventually they make a play. And they're so comfortable in a 7-3 game. You know what I'm saying? They're so comfortable in a 10-9 game. Their heart rate doesn't go up, and they've been doing it for a long time. They're kind of built that way, and our guys are getting used to it. The last couple of games have been like that for us. They've been doing that a long time.
They've had some kind of drama with their coaching staff, with Kirk's son being dismissed at the end of the year. I mean, in your time from your head coach at Temple till now, have you noticed AD's taking a much more hands-on role when it comes to that?
No one ever has with me, so I can't say that. All I'll say is I can't tell you how much respect I have for Brian Ferentz and Kirk Ferentz, that they've never let it be about anything other than their team. So, great coaches, great leaders. Protect those they lead and stand out front and take arrows and take slings and take, and that's what they do. And I mean, I love my kids are up here at work today. I love my kids more than anything. I can't imagine Coach Ferentz, and Brian, and I know Brian. I don't know Brian personally well. I've tried a couple times, thought about trying to hire him in the NFL if I could. I mean, he's one of the great offensive line coaches, tight end coaches, run game. I mean, he's done a great job for many years. I just have so much respect for that family and what they've done and how they've banded together.
You've been in rivalry games before at college. What have you heard about the Heroes game, the Iowa-Nebraska rivalry, and how much it means, not just inside the building, but outside?
I don't get outside the building very much, but that's definitely something I've felt since I've gotten here. I know how much it means to our players. Obviously last year I took the job here the night before the game or the morning of the game. I can't remember how exactly it played out. Probably the night before, I think, and then watched the game and saw that. So, I think it has a tremendous impact, obviously, on the community, on the team, and all those things. For me, the game's about these seniors. The game's about our team. I love them. I care deeply about them. I'm grateful for them, and I want to see them win.
I know you went back and watched all the games last year and practices, but what kind of a watchful eye did you have as you watched that game live last year? What do you remember about that?
Yeah, and the job had been open for a while, so kind of all the jobs that were open, we were kind of watching them each week, when they were on TV, some teams weren't always on TV, but Nebraska is always on TV, so we watched it every week. But I just remember that game, just how free and loose they looked, how explosive they looked. Again, you look at this defense. Trey Palmer hitting a deep ball. They don't give those up very often, and so that obviously he's a great player. And but I just remember seeing the guys play, and I remember watching the video afterwards. Seeing Garrett Nelson crying as he exited the field, and just how much that meant to those guys personally.
After the Illinois game, you mentioned, I think it's the old Pat Riley phrase, the innocent climb. Do you see players kind of buying into that or seeing that, even though you haven't got the results from the last 2 weeks? Like you mentioned yesterday, it was seemed like an uplifting day for you to have guys come in and say, I want to be here next year.
Yeah, I would say that if my gut, I mean, if you did an autopsy and you cut open the football program here, it's as healthy as it could be, and guys are feel as invested in, as poured into, and as coached and as developed as possible. So, I wish we'd have blocked the kick against Maryland and won the game. I wish we would have, won the game in overtime the other night. Those results would probably be more tangible our guys would feel better to be more tangible to the outside world. I get all that. But the development is the development, and the improvement is the improvement. And more than anything else, players want to know that they're getting better. The transfer portal is going to open up all across college football, and so many people are going to be making a decision about their current, is another situation better based upon how much they're playing? And my statement to guys is always, how do you want this to end? When you're a senior, what do you want to be an NFL player? Are you trending towards that direction? Not your current state, but are you improving and developing? And so I think our team, I don't think I've ever stood up here with you guys and said, hey, geez, we got this guy's hurt, that guy's hurt. I mean, I'm actually proud that when we put the third quarterback in, you guys say, well, how come? I mean, that means we probably are practicing pretty well. We're probably doing some things well. I'm proud that we put Justin Evans-Jenkins in or Teddy Prohaska in. And I mean, Teddy missed all of training camp. He's out there playing left tackle against Wisconsin in the crowd noise. And so and he's playing pretty well, So I just think, you watch Jalen Lloyd, on the bye week, Jalen and I and his parents were deciding if he should play or not, or if he should redshirt. And now Jalen's hitting seam balls for touchdowns. And so when we talk about buy-in from parents, talk about buy-in from players, I couldn't be happier about where we are. I couldn't be angrier about our record, if that makes sense. And two things can be true. Two things can be true.
Hey, you said, and I know there's some obvious things, Matt, but you said it'd be great for the program to reach a bowl game. What would be great about it in your mind?
The number one thing is the practice. We need the reps, the practice. Like, I think like the Shake Shack's about to be Jason's about to be a really good player. I think, Ruquan Buckley's been making the move over to the offensive line. He's going to be a dynamic guard, I think. I want to get him another month of playing O-line. Obviously, there'd be hey, we got there for the first time in however many years for everybody else, and I get that. Trust me, trust me. But to me, it's about the reps and the development and the opportunity to go compete again. But more importantly, it's about winning the game to get there. Like, we got to go win the game. You wake up on Saturday morning before the Wisconsin game, and you're watching other games, and they're putting up the Big Ten West, and we're in second place to start the day. But we didn't win, so you don't get to stay there. And so I want our guys to win one of these games so that, A, they know that they've achieved it, B, we get to practice, C, we can move some guys around and try some things. Like, if you think about it, like, we went to Wisconsin, and our punt returner was a true freshman, and our kick returner was a true freshman who's actually redshirting this year. So give me another month to practice with those guys. That's, to me, that's the benefit. It's the guys who are playing, but it's also, Steve, the players who are redshirting, because, when you're redshirting or you're not playing a ton, you start to say, like, am I good enough? Am I going to – when you start to have a vision of, man, they know I can play. They know what I can do. Like, can't wait for you guys to see Dylan Rogers. Can't wait for you guys to see DeAndre Barnes. Jeremiah Charles played for the first time. It's still his redshirt year. Those guys are going to be excellent. I can't wait for you guys to see Bryce Turner. So another month with those guys would be great. But most importantly, to go win the game, to go win a game and earn it, I think it's what good teams do down the stretch.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned December 4th and that portal. How do you and other coaches manage next week? Is it pretty stressful to kind of sit down with your team and kind of figure out what's going to go on with your players before that December 4th date hits here?
Yeah, I honestly don't see any of it as stressful. I 100% am in this position to help young people say that they had a better life because they played for me. That's 100% why I do it. You guys people might not believe that, but it's 100% why I do it. I could be home sitting out and be in the job cycle right now and probably be okay. I love it. I love being around young people. It's been one of the best years of my life. And so if one of our players' life is going to be better for having gone somewhere else, like, hey, you know what, Coach, I really want to play. I don't think I'm going to play. I'm going to help them. Now there's an added thing nowadays where sometimes, other teams are trying to buy your players. Like, it happened last year. And I don't know if some of those players who left because they got more money somewhere else, or they got money somewhere else, I don't know if that was the right thing for them. When I look at the stats sometimes, maybe that wasn't the right thing for them. But my job, just like my kids, like my son's decided where to go to college. I don't tell my son, you have to come to UNL. I said, well, go look at South Dakota State. He makes the decision, right? So I look at next week as an unbelievable opportunity to sit down with players and talk about what you see with them and what you see that they can be. I don't know if young people get that enough, right? Like, I'm going to sit down with every single player, walk on scholarship, and just talk about, where I see them, what I think they can do, and then have them talk to me. Hey, Coach, the good thing for me is, most of these guys I have that kind of relationship with already, where I'm already sitting down with them. But it might be right for someone to go somewhere else. It might be right for someone to sit here and just fight it out and tough it out. So I have those conversations, though, Sean, all year long. Like like with Jalen, like Jaden Doss. James Williams last week. We have those conversations all year long with everybody. I'm having them with seniors today, so we'll have them next week. I bet you most guys will want to stay here. It's a really great place to be. It's a really good program to be in. And if it's not right for somebody, then we'll help them with all that we have.
How do you handle the other side of that? I know how you answered it in the spring when the portal was about to open, but every team has needs, and I'm sure you obviously have to look at who's available. So what's your approach with that as you balance your own team and finishing the season and whatever else is ahead?
Yeah, I think you're always recruiting, and part of recruiting now is the transfer portal. I don't think you see very many teams. I think we've kind of there's some team, like, there's two stages of this, right? There's teams where you hire, like, so when I left Temple to go to Baylor, I mean, it was even in my contract that I couldn't take even a player that we had offered or recruited to Baylor. Then coaches started bringing their commitments to schools, which used to be a no-no. Now coaches are leaving and they're taking their roster with them. So, which I'm not here to judge anyone. Like, I came here, like I said to you guys before, if I could have brought Brian Burns and Frankie Louvu, everyone would be pretty happy right now. I just didn't get a chance to do that, right? And if you notice, we didn't take anybody from Baylor. Like we didn't bring anyone from Baylor. Like, there's an ethic thing that I'm going to always do. But anytime someone comes in the portal, if they come in there, we're always going to look at every single thing. But we're going to build the base of what we do with a homegrown roster and then supplement it and add to it when time comes, when need be. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the portal. It's not. I just don't know how many teams are winning by bringing in 25 guys, right? I just think that sometimes that can cause a little chaos. What we want to do is build a roster, a nucleus of guys that are all here, that understand what we're doing, and then when a guy comes along, it might be 5 1 year, it might be one year, it might be 10. I don't know that answer. But I love high school recruiting, and I love getting guys here, and I love having them for 4 or 5 years. And what I don't want to do is I don't ever want to just have a short-term fix. We're in the building phase right now. Someday when we get to the contending phase, whatever that is, that might be the time. I'm learning this as I go, though. Please don't take my kind of the way I say this as like I have it figured out. Like, I don't think. I've got coaches calling me, like friends of mine that are up for other jobs. They're asking me questions about. I don't think anybody has it all figured out. I mean, it's changing by the day too.
Back, you mentioned the coaches calling us. I mean, how do you advise your assistants? It's a good problem to have when you have assistants that are on hot boards and things.
Go get a job.
How do you advise them to handle it while the season's still going on?
Go get a job. I told Tony. I mean, search firm called me, asked for Tony's number. I said, yes, you should hire Tony White. Tony White should be a head coach. He's excellent. I tell Tony, don't take the wrong one. Don't take the wrong job now. Like, don't take a job with no resources. Don't take a job with no support. Don't take a job without a great recruiting base. Don't take a job. Hear me now when I say this. This is deep. Where the expectations outweigh the commitment. If I want to be in great shape and I work out 1 day a week, okay, you want to be a 10-win team and you're spending at the middle of your conference, okay, the expectations. So I do that with all my guys because it's like the players. I mean, I want them to want to be here, and I also want them to advance. I don't want guys who only want to be here, and I've brought guys back, like when I see like Elijah Robinson at A&M, I get proud. Evan Cooper's been with me, but he left and went to Miami and came back and worked for me again. So, in season, I mean, we have so much time. You know what I'm saying? We have so much time. Our coaches are here at night. They're here. We have guys that show up at 4 a.m, not me. We have guys at night. Our guys are professional. They would never, ever put anything but the players first. But, yeah, anybody that's called me about Tony as a head coach, I've said, yeah, give him a shot. And I tell Tony, pick the right job. Don't pick the wrong job because we're going to be good on defense here for a while. The stark reality, and maybe people like it, maybe they don't, is everywhere I've been, we've had a good defense. And everywhere I've been, we've had kind of a middle-of-the-pack offense. We're not quite middle-of-the-pack yet on offense. I'd like to get to be more dynamic. I've never had athletes like this. Wait till Malachi and Jaden and Quentin and all these guys grow up. I think we're going to be pretty darn good. But we're going to be really good on defense for a while if Tony decides to stay. If he gets a head coaching job and he wants to take it, I'm going to hug him, love him, wish him the best, and then we'll continue to play good defense.
You think the defense will be good long enough to where if a guy like that doesn't take a job in this cycle, they're going to be again there in the next cycle?
100%.
Do you mind saying why you think Tony's ready?
Because I'll say this, being a coordinator and being a head coach, I say that, you might have heard me say this before, if you did, forgive me. It's similar, but it's about like the difference between being a cardiologist and an oncologist. If they diagnose you with cancer, you're not going to go see the cardiologist. But you both went to medical school, you both did all the training. Like, the things that come across my desk every day, very few of them have anything to do with the weak side ISO. They have to do with everything but, and they have to do with players and now the portal. I mean, it has to do with all this other stuff. So I think you have to have this knowledge of football that allows you to always, painting a picture for the guys of how we want to win. You have to have a philosophy that's embedded, that doesn't sway when the results aren't there. You have to be a person who cares about people and has relationships, and genuine relationships, not just relationships with the people who can do something for you. And you can't be this. You have to be this, right? And I see that from Tony. And I see him just being able to say even keel, the same guy every day. Like I said, Joey McGuire worked for me. He's done a great job at Texas Tech. Never been a coordinator, but he's a head coach. So I think I see all those things from Tony. I hope he gets an opportunity. We don't have enough coaches of diverse backgrounds. But as much as anything, I think he's just really smart. And I think we have other guys on the staff who are ready to be coordinators. I think we have other guys who are ready to be head coaches. So if he gets an opportunity, unbelievable for him. But make no mistake, being a great coordinator has nothing to do with being a good head coach. It has everything else to do with everything else, in my opinion.
Hey, can you speak to, during the season, in the off season, what you guys do as an offensive staff to drill some of those late game situations, like if you're playing for 3, if you're playing for 7, how you work timeouts, how you work clock management, just the stuff that you guys do so that when you get in those moments, you're prepared?
And I'll be frank, I'm assuming you're referring, like, I probably should have called the timeout earlier, right?
I don't know, last 2
No,
weeks.
I'd rather address it directly than not. As I said after the game, for me, it was really important in that game that I gave the defense a chance to win the game. Because too many times we haven't given the defense a chance to win the game. So when you look at it from an outsider's perspective, and you haven't seen the Minnesota ending, you haven't seen the ending last week. Yeah, from a traditional perspective, I completely understand it. Because we had missed one earlier, because we have a freshman kicker, because it was cold, because of all those different things. I wanted to make sure I got the ball down in a certain area. I also didn't want to kick it because we didn't get that third down. I didn't want to give them the ball with 40 seconds left because if you go back to last week, what happened? They went down and they kicked a field goal. So I didn't want to throw an interception in the end zone. I mean, I'm saying I wanted to be conservative to get the first down, make sure we had the first down, not give them time to go on and kick the field goal. I thought we were playing really well on defense, and we would stop them in overtime and win the game. Or we'd have a chance, let's say, hey, make sure we have a shot at the end zone. If I could go back, like I said after the game, I'd have called the timeout with 30 seconds and had 2 shots in the end zone. I don't know for us how many shots we're going to hit from like the 18 to 20-yard line. So I say all that to say you make those decisions based upon your team, right? So in the offseason, we do it based upon other teams and the analytics. And, the analytics told me to go for it on 4th and 2 on the previous drive. My gut was to punt the ball down, that we were going to stop them. That was right. My gut was Michigan State. It said to go for 4th and 7. That's what the analytics said. I punted the ball down. We got the stop. So, I think sometimes you have to take – I take the analytics. They give it to me. And I also kind of take what we have. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. Like, we get that ball to overtime. We have them 3rd and 10. We have them 3rd and 8. And unfortunately, we just don't make the play. But I stood in front of the team and said, hey, guys, I wish I would have called the timeout with 30 seconds and given you 2 shots. In terms of practicing it, we practice those things every Friday. We practice those things every Thursday, either or. We practice them all off season. I think when you see a quarterback who's been on the scout team not get a ton of reps and he takes the ball from the 93 or the 94 and drives it down, it's pretty good coaching by Sat and Garrett and all those guys. We took the ball down last night, with 3 minutes left, and there's just a fine line there of, hey, let's score. Let's guarantee a field goal. Let's try to score a touchdown and end this game, but let's not give the ball back to them. Unfortunately for us, again, I think I said it after the game. I had a lot of people say to me, why didn't you guys just run the ball the week before against Maryland? Because we would have, kicked the field goal and given them the ball back with 2.5 minutes left, or 2 minutes left had we kicked the field goal the week before. They got the ball back at the 25-yard, then they went down and kicked the field goal. So it's a fine line there. In terms of balancing it, we go through all the different things. We have parameters that we use of when to use timeouts, when not. We use the analytics, outside service. We practice it. But in the end, you have to make a decision. And what I don't believe in is resulting. And that's when you balance your decision based upon how the result comes out. You make the best decision. If I could go back, I would have called the timeout with 30 seconds. I'd have given them I'd have given them 2 shots. But what I didn't say after the game is, really, 'cause after the game, you're pretty emotional. I just did not want to kick that field goal with 45 seconds, make the field goal, and then give them a chance to go down and tie it. To go down, win the game. I wanted to, at the very least, get it to overtime because I thought I was really starting to see our defense emerge. And, we had 2 third downs that we gave up. We had a penalty on offense, just didn't make the plays. But as with everything else, all those things fall squarely on my shoulders. Like I'm saying, I'd much rather answer it directly like this. I told the team, I said, guys, I wish I'd have done this for you. I wish I'd have given you one more shot. That's part of all this. I have players come into me and sometimes they have tears in their eyes. Say, Coach, I wish I'd have done this. We do the best we can. We come out the next week. But it was thought out. It wasn't like it was, just, hey, we don't know what we're doing. I just felt like I owed it to our defense to guarantee that the game continued. Good to see everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.